Let me just get, before we go to our experts, let me just get a couple of reactions in from the students who are here, who are studying at various universities. What would you like to say when you hear the foreign minister say that?
Since you're saying that it's a crime, not a racist, how can it be a crime, not a racist? We thought as in altogether, we know that it's a racist, because how can we come to this India? How can we come to this India and we are facing this kind of difficulties? We can't be able to go out. This is kind of somehow kind of a trouble. How, like now, if I leave this India, you don't expect me to find one of my family members trying to come to this India, then I will allow that person to come to this India. Even my enemies, I'm not going to allow that person to come to this India, because we are finding a very big situation over here. How can I come to this India thinking that I'm going to be loved and I'm not free to move out? Look at what happened to one of my brother in Amsel. How can they say it's a crime? Is it a crime to come to India? It's not a crime to come to India. We came here to study. We came here to study.
I know. I wonder if all of you feel like that, because Baba Khana, I wanted to ask you, you're a student over here, what the foreign minister pointed out. She said that, look, we were concerned. It's very obvious from the fact that we sent word. She said she spoke to the UP chief minister, because all of you are based in Noida.
Yeah.
She said she sent word, and she said Indian students get attacked. She said one person got attacked in Mozambique, but we didn't call it a race attack immediately. She's saying just don't call it a racist. Don't call all of us racist. Do you agree she has a point?
No, I don't really, because she said a single student got attacked in Mozambique. So it's only a single student, and I know all the Indians there are free moving ups and downs freely, but I was locked in my house for 4 to 5 days. So just because of a single crime, if it's a crime, it has to be on them, not on everyone. So because now in Noida, the situation in Noida, I know quite all right. I was among the people who informed the minister on Twitter. She got alerted on Twitter. I mentioned her personally.
Yes.
I did so. So actually what happened in Noida is totally a racial attack. It's totally a racial attack, because you can't just be going up and down looking for like blacks, then you start beating them, hitting them. Up till now they are mocking us. Today I went to a Jagat farm to get something. But actually when I went, the people are like, the auto drivers are saying Parichok, and they'll be laughing. You know, Parichok is the main place where all the things happen.
Right.
So they will just be mocking you with that. They'll say Parichok. So because they know we are scared a lot. So
they're mocking
us, yeah. They're telling us like Parichok. They're calling us, are you going to Parichok? Like they're not really taking us there. They know we are not going there. But they are doing that intentionally, because they are not.
That's really
we are
tragic.
very scared.
You know, I know you all have lots of things to say, but let's just get in our experts as well. Vivek Karju, if I can start with you. You hear what the students over here, I've got a lot of them over here, they're very upset at their experience being negated by India. What would you say to them, and do you agree with the foreign minister then?
No, I don't think that their concerns are being taken lightly by the government, because the government has assured Parliament by no less a person than the Minister of External Affairs herself that this matter is being taken seriously, and that the people who have been responsible for the attack on our guests from Africa will be dealt with, that there will be an investigation and they will be dealt with. Now, obviously, the incident itself has caused concern among the African students, but they too have to look at this matter in perspective. After all, as the minister told Parliament, there was one young African student, a lady, who had made certain allegations which she withdrew. So this matter has to be looked in perspective. I can share their concerns. I think there is fear among them, but this does not need to be overblown, and there should not be a generalization.
Okay. No, I know you're not saying there shouldn't be a generalization, but I wonder if, like you're pointing out, the Kenyan students think, but her one case is India using that as a pretext to underplay everybody else's experience. Rajiv?
No, of course
Rajiv
not.
Dogra? Do you agree? Do you also agree?
Well, let me give a little background. I mean, first, making one incident into an entire monstrosity, I think is very wrong on the part of everyone, whether it is the African students or their diplomats posted here. Particularly the diplomats, because it is the responsibility of diplomats to calm things down. Whereas what they have done is put oil over a burning fire. And did they have really solid grounds to take it in an international fashion and in such a sort of extreme fashion? And I want to point out some of the things which they have mentioned in their statement. The first thing which they mentioned is that it was not taken up at a high level either locally, which means at the state, or nationally. Well, nationally you've heard what the foreign minister has said, and at the state level the same day Chief Minister ordered the police to arrest those who were responsible. But much more than that, these diplomats should have taken some cognizance of what is being said on television and written in newspapers. There's not even a single voice in favor of these culprits or these, I would say, criminal elements who've done this horrible thing.
So
but much
obviously
more
both
than
of you
that,
as
I think
diplomats,
they should
Rajiv
look.
Dogra, you and
let me-
Vivek
let me
Karju,
just- let
both
me-
of you as diplomats seem to agree. Okay.
Let me just add one more point. I think Africa should also look inwards at its own history. Do they forget what happened in Uganda or what happened in Kenya? If they want to find out what happened, they should go to Leicester in the United Kingdom. Do they forget what happened in Fiji?
I think a lot of students
And
over
what
here
is
want to
happening
respond to
every
you.
other
Yeah.
day in Nigeria and so on? So I don't think this kind of blame game is going to help either the African students or the cause of Indo-African friendship.
Sir, the student wants to respond to you. Yeah, what did you want to say?
Okay. What I want to say is just one thing.
Yeah.
Because from the media, I've seen a story when two Indians were attacked in United States, but I'm not certain about the time. They were shot by an American shouting, "Go back to India, go back to your country." So clearly when this racial attack happened in Greater Noida, same people that attacked us were having banners written "Nigerians free Greater Noida." So there is certain similarities between the two.
That's
So
an
we
important
can call it absolutely that is racism. But people here don't seem to understand and then declare it racism.
That's a really good point. And Anuradha Chinoy, would you then differ with the diplomats in agreeing and agree with the students with what they're saying, that we seem to have a double standard with how our students get treated abroad and how we treat foreign students over here?
Look, I think there are several levels. Firstly, the Indian government position is, officially very strongly against racism in all forums, in their foreign policy.
In theory, you mean?
Also in practice, in the
Okay.
sense of encouraging scholarships for students, thousands of them, etc.
Okay.
But at the level of society, there are lots of intolerance against and stereotyping of people.
Right.
And so there is racism in our society, even though we face racism in other societies. And within our society also there is racism, sometimes against the Northeast students. So there is this stereotyping. So my whole position is in between, where I believe that, the government officially at UN, etc., takes strong position, but I think they need to inculcate a sense of opposition to intolerances and racisms in citizens
Right.
through campaigns by
Which
recognizing
they are doing.
it.
They have
But,
those,
but
they have
at
appointed-
moments like this, I think they need to reassure the African students, because I think the African students, and I've seen it in my own university and other places, they do feel a sense of alienation.
Yeah.
Other students do have stereotypes against them and target them culturally.